Hey everyone. So basically, I decided to take it upon myself to start this self experimentation where I basically go and try and read these different types of books and look at these different lectures and basically find these gems that is hidden within a lot of the duration of the time that they speak, and basically take those benefits and try and see if they're actually applicable in my own life. And basically what I come to do now is basically share these experiences, share these benefits that I've started implementing in my own life, and whether or not these are something that you should explore yourself. Now, just a quick disclaimer, I'm obviously not a professional. I haven't mastered these types of habits, but they do say that the key to mastery is by showing that you can teach it. And in order for you to teach it, you have to actually know about it and apply it, because that's where the real essence of the knowledge comes in. So, what I was gonna say is that generally with these types of topics, there's generally a lot of fluff. So usually people talk a lot um, about these actual principles or these behaviors, and sometimes they don't exactly get straight to the point. So, what I'm going to do is take extracts from Atomic Habits, The Diary of a CEO, and a specific extract from the MIT monk. So, basically, he said some points, and what I wanted to do was just take snippets of each of those things and explain the benefits that I have taken from it, and just give my not personal input, just basically the stuff that I learned and how we can use it in our own life. Hey, so now we're going to talk about one of the books. Particularly, we're going to start with The Diary of a CEO. So now, in the beginning, the highlights that I've taken out of it, particularly, I'm going to be talking about a principle that they were talking about, or this analogy, called filling the 5 buckets. Now, I'm going to be talking about the two buckets particularly, because it usually goes from left to right. And how it went was, what you know was the first bucket, and what you can do was the second bucket. Now, there's a relationship with how it went, because basically, what I was trying to explain was that the emphasis on what you know was regarded as something that is absolutely fundamental, and something that is a great priority that a lot of these successful people have taken the jump on, and have made it their priority to make that a daily commitment. In fact, that was one of the laws that they have emphasized, making this a commitment to educate yourself on what you know. Because why is it important? Why is knowing things important? Knowing something. What exactly is it? Basically, knowing something means you have ideas on how to actually go about this type of subject. Basically, what it is I've elaborated in the last video that our biggest problems is not the actual problems itself, but rather it's a lack of ideas on how to go about the problem. And knowledge, they gave an analogy that knowledge is like light, right? Consider yourself in a dark room. The lights all closed. Let me give an example. Lights all closed. You can't see anything. Lights turn on. All of a sudden, you know exactly where to go. My point is, my point is, with this example, that this knowledge allows you to figure out where exactly to go, and it all starts with just ideas, learning about these ideas. So the Diary of a CEO has emphasized and prioritized the importance of actually making it a commitment to constantly fill your first bucket of what you know, constantly find different ways and different things of what you know, different fields, whatever it may be. Because the first thing in figuring out, obviously, on how to get better is to figure out how things work. Is to figure out how things work. They say that if you want to be successful, then get ideas on how to be successful. But those lack of ideas, because the most problem that arises when someone comes up, I've got a problem. The reality is they don't have ideas on how to deal with the problem. So now, how exactly do they get the ideas? Studying, looking out and searching for those ideas. Whether it's looking at YouTube, looking at these successful people that, honestly, and nowadays, a lot of them are actually producing videos on how they did their actual journey, on the steps that they took, and the principles that they followed in order for them to get there. So now, what can we exactly do with this? How can this benefit us? And how can we use it in our own life? Because the reality is, the more ideas you know, the more likely you're going to hit the actual thing that you're looking for. And keep in mind, you knowing those ideas increases your own value, because that's how they weigh it. Basically, the amount of stuff that you know can also lead to the amount of things that you can do. You think about it in a long-term scale, those 15 minutes where, let's say, they name drop 2 or 3 ideas, I guess in the worst case, 15 minutes, 2 to 3 ideas, let's say 2 ideas, 2 ideas times 365, that's above 700 and something ideas. Now that's a lot, 730 ideas. That's 730 more ideas to figure out whatever it is that you want to figure out. Whether it's how to get more money, or how to be more mentally tough, how to be a solid communicator, or how to deal with life's biggest problems, how to deal with stress. Moving on to the next book. See, we're using this concept of us filling our bucket of knowing. Now with the second book, we're now applying that principle. So the next book is Atomic Habits. And I wanted to extract a few points that it was mentioning. See, with Atomic Habits, it was mentioning the concept of, in order for a habit, particularly a good habit, in order for you to be more likely to commit to a good habit, you got to make it more obvious. That was one of the four laws that it was stating in order to make a habit stick. Make it more obvious. Make it more obvious. And these four laws could also be flipped oppositely. So basically, you do the opposite if you wanted to eliminate a bad habit. So instead of making something obvious, you make it invisible. Because why make it obvious? How do we exactly connect these two? When you make it obvious, it's on your mind. When it's on your mind, you're actually aware of this actual habit. And that's what they've stated, that in order for us to even change our habits, first we need to be aware of our actual habits to begin with. It all starts with awareness. And what they've concluded is, what one of the strategies that they've stated in terms of making it obvious is actually just making a specific plan. Making a specific plan of the time and the place of where you actually do it. For example, they found that, let's say if you wrote just at 3 p.m. I will exercise. It found from a study that, those people who wrote an actual plan specifically, noting when they're actually going to do something, were more likely to commit to a habit compared to those who had similar motivations, however, and even made goal settings, however, made no attempt in planning. In fact, a lot more significantly failed in actually committing to the actual habit. Now, obviously, we can bypass it, but the point is that intention. Now, another thing of bringing awareness, um, because you can't change something that's unconscious unless you make it conscious. Because the reality is of our subconscious. It's not that it's hidden. It's that we don't actually slow down in our life to actually realize how deep it is. We don't actually slow down our lives to actually take the time to think about what's been going on. A lot of us are living on autopilot. So by taking the time to slow down, whether it's setting that small pickpocket of a time window to just sit down and actually think, what are your actual habits? And one of the strategies that they mentioned, which is so simple, but it's called the habit scorecard. Um, Basically what it is whether it's a piece of paper or on a doc, whatever it is. The point is, you just list the habits that actually happens in your day. And you're probably thinking, well, that's so simple. What's the point of that? Exactly. What is the point of that? You see the habits and you're thinking to yourself, you see the habits and you start now thinking to yourself, wow, that's, and the key point here is that you're just observing your habits. You're not exactly you're not exactly gonna judge yourself. You're not exactly gonna judge yourself or get an angry tantrum. Oh my gosh, why am I actually doing this? Like, what the hell? Or like, why am I doing this? Like, I can't believe it. Like, none of that. All we're doing is simply just observing the habits that's actually been going on, and the habits that are going on, and you're seeing that, and then basically you come in the perspective of, oh, that's so interesting. I didn't know I spent 4 hours watching Netflix, watching Prison Break, or watching Suits. What? I spent 2 hours on my phone scrolling? What? Like, you realize these types of patterns. And then what the strategy was is that you basically, it builds that awareness for you to actually think. And what they've advised is to change something small. Something small, some one of the advices that they give is that you change something that is something, change something. If you want to introduce something that is new, you pick something that is small, something that you can actually commit to, that you can actually do every single day, something that is actually repeatable, and at the same time actually moves the needle forward to the life that you actually want. So it's not just a fluff habit that doesn't necessarily build anything. So how does this impact me? So why is this important to me? Because at the end of the day, the take-home message is to be more aware of our habits. To be more aware, are we building ourselves towards the direction we want to go to? Are we increasing ourselves in value? Are we making ourselves, are we giving ourselves any more ideas? Are we gaining any more ideas that can help us solve the problems that we really want? Are we attracting more fluff and more waffle material that's not really going to help us out there? Because it's not about working harder. It's not just about working harder. You want to make sure that you're actually getting the pinpointed information that can actually help you. Because those ideas, gaining more ideas, is what's going to help figure out on what you can do with the actual problems that you've got. And at the end of the day, at the end of the day, if we expect, if we expect a car that is poorly maintained, no service checks, poor, you don't fill any petrol, and you expect it to perform highly, then that you're seriously misunderstanding. Then you can't expect it, because the reality is, it's not motivation that creates, that gives us the ability to do these actions. The more we do these actions, the more we commit to doing actions, the more it actually creates the motivation. It creates these sense of feelings, because a lot of us misunderstand and understand that this is a journey, and that all successful people have emphasized the importance of starting small to build that commitment, to build that commitment. And this is an experimentation that I'm doing with myself, to take and observe all of these videos and these books, and figuring out the value and benefits that I can take for myself and apply it, and then eventually share it with you guys. So if you guys enjoyed this video and you appreciate the information that I am presenting, or you have any feedback of this video, definitely chuck it in the comment section below, and let me know perhaps on, I guess, this disregard that. And yeah, at the end of the day, no one's perfect. If I have made a mistake, I apologize. That is from me, not the actual topic itself. All right. And definitely check out the different professionals and the highly qualified people that are doing the great works out there, um, and that are helping out the community, particularly with these types of topics. Um, don't be a follower, be a student. Find any gem, find any benefit, and go out there and grab it. Thank you very much. Peace out.